Welcome to Guy Gunter Home Kitchen Studios. Now we're cooking. Break down exactly what we're gonna do today, and what we're gonna do is some roasted sweet plantain, roasted butternut squash. We're gonna do some pulled and pressed mushrooms in the sous vide. They're gonna have a citrusy mojo flavor to them. That's going to be our meat. And then we're also cooking rice and black Cuban beans as well. To get started, I'm going to cut the butternut squash in half lengthwise and scoop out the seeds. We don't want those. We're going to drizzle some olive oil on the top so they roast and sear nicely. And then we're going to go ahead and salt generously. Go ahead and place these on your baking sheet with the interior sides facing down. Next step is to cut the ends of the plantains and place them on the baking sheet as well. So after we cut our butternut squash in half, we preheated the oven, by the way, 425. We're gonna put the butternut squash in anywhere from 30 to 40 minutes. That SKS appliance over there should make quick work and roast this beautifully. The plantains we're also gonna throw in there, but they're going to take a little less time. Let's say about 15, 20 minutes tops. Next, we need to chop our garlic, onion, and sweet peppers, our sofrito for our Cuban black beans. We also have this really special ingredient. In Spanish, it's called ají cachucha. And basically, you can call it a cachucha pepper or Caribbean sweet pepper. And it lends just such a wonderful, robust flavor to Cuban cuisine. So we definitely have to have this when we're cooking today. We're about to break this down and just slice them up for you. So our plantains are looking beautiful. Once they're busted out like that, that's how you can tell they're done. Just gonna set these on the cooling rack, and then we're gonna inspect our roasted butternut squash here. Looks like we still need a little bit of time, but it's looking great. We'll leave them in for an additional 20 minutes. Wow, looking beautiful. Butternut squash, roasted. Look at that, huh? Look how nicely this SKS oven roasted this butternut squash. This looks amazing. Look at the sear on that. To make sure it's ready to go, we're just gonna test it with a fork. Yep, these are ready. Once our plantains are roasted beautifully, and you can tell they're done just when they bust out of the peel. So we're just gonna go ahead and peel it, put it on our plate, and the way we're gonna use it today is we're going to actually just mash it. This roasted plantain smells amazing. We're going to put this aside for now. We need to chop our onions and our mushrooms for our Cuban pulled mushroom dish. So when you're plant-based, you're looking for a meat substitute. One of the greatest ones that I've worked with is mushrooms. These are white button mushrooms, and we're getting ready to just break them down. We're gonna cut them so we can prep them, and then we're gonna put them in the pan. We're going to saute them and press them, so we want that moisture out of there, and then they turn into something totally different. Check it out. It's the moment that we've all been waiting for, the flavor, the sofrito. And what is sofrito, really? Well, you know, different cultures have their own way of sort of a base seasoning, if you will. We call it sofrito in Cuba. And so typically what you'll see in a sofrito is onion, you'll see garlic, you'll see sweet bell peppers. In this case, we have the special Caribbean sweet pepper that we're using. We're gonna also have cumin. We're also gonna have oregano. So all of this is gonna come together in a hot pan with some olive oil, and it's gonna be absolutely amazing. Now, I wish I could transfer that smell to you. Wow. One of the things I noticed right off the bat, when you're using SKS appliances that are just state-of-the-art, one of the best things is that your pan almost immediately gets hot. So your cooking time obviously is reduced when you're using an appliance such as the one we're using today. So shout out to SKS Appliances. Love it. It's a chef's dream to actually cook on these things. Look at that beautiful sofrito. And we're almost ready. We just want to soften it. We don't want to really cook it all the way through or let it burn. We just want to give it a nice softening and golden color to our garlic. One of the distinct aromas is going to be the combination, right, of the garlic, the onion, the peppers, and cumin. Lastly, we put in a little bit of fresh oregano leaves. So our sofrito is finished, and now we're going to add it to our black beans. The flavor this adds is something special, and it reminds me of my grandmother's kitchen. Now we're going to simply mix that in. I personally like to use red wine vinegar. There's different people use different things, but I'm just gonna go ahead and do a small splash. That's all we need. Okay, so now we've transferred our sofrito into our black beans, and one of the secrets that grandmas and also chefs use to thicken without adding anything extra like cornstarch or some other type of thickener. Some people add different things, but really all you need to do in order to get your sauce a little bit thicker, because that's what you want to shoot for, you simply take a big, large wooden spoon like this, and you smash the beans on the side of the pot. And when you do that, you literally smash those beans and it thickens the sauce all by itself with the beans themselves without adding anything else. So now it's time to make our mushroom meat, and we got our pan hot, just a little bit of olive oil. We're going to do a technique, it's called pressing. I actually have a tool today. It's actually going to help us press those mushrooms into the pan so that we can release the moisture and get them to the texture that we need them to be for our meat. Now, it's getting a nice little sear on these mushrooms. They're looking beautiful. They've broken down. They literally look like meat texture right now. So we're gonna go ahead and first we're gonna add a little bit of olive oil to the mix. A little fat. Gonna add a little bit of garlic. We're gonna add a little bit of onion. And I want to just soften these onions just a little bit. We're almost ready to make our mojo. Okay, we're now gonna set these aside. Cut off the heat. That's what they look like before the mojo sauce. A little cilantro for the final touch on the Cuban black beans. Once they're done, you just throw them in there fresh and then just wilt and give it a nice cilantro taste for the final. So in Cuban cuisine, typically we have a sauce called Mojo Sauce. This is a citrus, kind of like a vinaigrette more than a sauce. And it typically goes over roasted meats, particularly roasted pig. But in this case, obviously, we're substituting that roasted pig with roasted and pulled mushrooms. And then now we're gonna make our citrus vinaigrette or mojo sauce to go with our pulled mushrooms. And then we're gonna finally sous vide that just so that it can marinate in that hot water and really just infuse the flavor into it. First, start with a lime. Now, there are many ways to make Mojo sauce. Typically we use sour oranges or a combination of orange, limes, any type of citrus really is used, but in today's mojo, we're using a little bit of lime, and we're also gonna hit it with a little bit of red wine vinegar. So we're gonna make like a lime vinaigrette or mojo. Red wine vinegar, olive oil, salt. You want to initially hit it with some salt. You got vinegar and you got lime in there. Not too much, but as you go along. Okay, so next we're going to throw a little bit of fresh onions in there. And then we're going to take a little bit of garlic and also go in. And so today we're just going to use a little bit of mint leaves and a little bit of oregano to complete our mojo. First thing you want to do is really finely mince your mint leaves. A little bit of oregano. Take a spoon, just mix that around. Okay. Just take a pinch of cumin. Just some cumin. We've made our mojo sauce. And now we're going to further flavor these mushrooms, or our substitute meat, with the mojo sauce. And man, it's just unbelievable the flavors that are in this food. So we got the mint, the oregano, the onion, the garlic. We have red wine vinegar. We have olive oil, and a little bit of cumin, salt, and pepper. Smells so good. So we have our sous vide preheated. We have it on for about 30 minutes. We don't want to cook these too long. The mushrooms are pretty much done, but what the sous vide can do is slowly cook things. In this case, what we want to do is allow the mushrooms and all those good flavors that we have in there just to marinate, okay, and get a little bit more flavor. So we're going to go ahead and stick our mushroom meat right into the sous vide pan. It already has water. We have our preset temperatures and time. It's ready to go. Okay, so I've rinsed our jasmine rice and it's getting ready to go in there. I have a little bit of olive oil that I put in there, and now I'm going in with about 2 cups of rice. And again, you want to rinse your rice. You're not trying to toast this too much, but you're trying to just heat it up, and you're trying to just mix it in well with the olive oil so that it gets a little bit of heat. Trust me, doing this before you actually cook the rice is going to make the difference. So now these plantains and the squash are just looking phenomenal. But if you want to take it up another notch, we have to drizzle this wonderful mojo right over the top of these perfectly roasted vegetables. So lastly, before we put the lid on it, we want to actually make sure that there's enough water. You want it just above the rice. Not too much water. Stovetop rice is just, if you put too much water in it, you're going to really get mushy rice, and you don't want that. So be careful. Taste for salt, and make sure your water levels are good. Once your water levels are adequate and everything's ready to go, you want to Bring it to a boil and then turn it down to a low simmer. About 10 minutes should be good to go. Make sure you have your lid on there. Oh yeah. Best part is yet to come. That's actually the plating to see how beautiful this food looks, but even better than that is to eat it. So first, I'm gonna do some rice. Yeah. Kind of arrange that rice, I don't know, any way that you'd like to. Sometimes I just go for kind of like a side there. Butternut squash and roasted plantains with the Mojo sauce. You got a little bit of that color in there. It's a little generous portion there. We have our mushrooms. Remember our mushroom meat? It's now going in. And then, oh yeah. Stir. So those beautiful black beans right over the top. Okay, so here it is, guys. I don't know about you, but I am so hungry and I can't wait to dig in. So what we have on our final plating: rice, Cuban black beans, white button mushrooms, roasted Cuban style, and then we have our sweet plantain roasted with our butternut squash with Mojo sauce. I hope you enjoyed what you've seen today. I hope this inspires you to cook more plant-based foods. Wonderful, flavorful, and delicious. Done with our state-of-the-art SKS appliances, cooking food to absolute perfection.